Aline, implica 650 per fare il calcolo. Vieni qua, vieni. Avanti. Sì, a te, allora. Sei sicuro che ne è? Io non ce l'hai.
The British Museum is dedicated to human history, art, and culture and is located in the Bloomsbury area of London. Its permanent collection, numbering some 8 million works, is among the largest and most comprehensive in existence, and originates from all continents, illustrating and documenting the story of human culture from its beginnings to the present. The British Museum was established in 1753, largely based on the collections of the physician and scientist Sir Hans Sloane. The museum first opened to the public on the 15th of January 1759 in Montagu House, on the site of the current building. Its expansion over the following 2.5 centuries was largely a result of an expanding British colonial footprint and has resulted in the creation of several branch institutions, the first being the British Museum Natural History in South Kensington in 1881. Some objects in the collection, most notably the Elgin marbles from the Parthenon, are the objects of controversy and of calls of restitution to their countries of origin. In 1973, the British Library Act 1972 detached the library department from the British Museum, but it continued to host the now separated British Library in the same reading room and building as the museum until 1997. The museum is a non-departmental public body sponsored by the Department for Culture, Media and the Sport, and as with other national history museums in the United Kingdom, it charges no admission fee except for loan exhibitions. Today, the museum no longer houses collections of natural history, and the books and the manuscripts it once held now form part of the independent British Library. The museum, nevertheless, preserves its universality in its collections of artifacts representing the cultures of the world, ancient and modern. The original 1753 collection has grown to over 13 million objects at the British Museum, 17 million at the Natural History Museum and 150 million at the British Library. The round reading room, which was designed by the architect Sidney Smirke, opened in 1857. For almost 150 years, researchers came here to consult the museum's vast library. The reading room closed in 1997 when the National Library, the British Library, moved to a new building at St. Pancras. Today it has been transformed into the Walter and Leonore Annenberg Center. With the book stacks in the central courtyard at the museum empty, the process of demolition of Lord Foster's glass-roofed Great Court could begin. The Great Court opened in 2000, while undoubtedly improving circulation around the museum, was criticized for having a lack of exhibition space at a time when the museum was in serious financial difficulties and many galleries were closed to the public. At the same time, the African collections that had been temporarily housed in 6 Burlington Gardens were given a new gallery in the northwest wing, funded by the Sainsbury family, with a donation valued at £25 million. As part of its very large website, the museum has the largest online database of objects in the collection of any museum in the world, with 2,000 individual object entries, 650,000 of them illustrated online at the start of 2012. This is also a highlights database with longer entries on over 4,000 objects and several specialized online research catalogs and online journals, all free to access. In 2013, the museum's website received 19.5 million visits, an increase of 47% from the previous year. In 2013, the museum received a record 6.7 million visitors, an increase of 20% from the previous year. Popular exhibitions included Life and Death in Pompeii and Herculaneum and Ice Age art are credited with helping fuel the increase in visitors. Plans were announced in September 2014 to recreate the entire building along with all exhibits in the video game Minecraft in conjunction with the members of the public. In recent years, controversies pertaining to reparation of artifacts taken from the Old Summer Palace in Beijing during the Anglo-French invasion of China in 1860 have also begun to surface. The ransacking and destruction of the Chinese palaces has led to unhealed historical wounds in Chinese culture. Victor Hugo condemned the French and the British for their plundering. The British Museum and the Victoria and Albert Museum, among others, have been asked since 2009 to open their archives for investigation by a team of Chinese investigators as a part of an international mission to document lost national treasures. However, there have been fears that the United Kingdom may be asked to return these treasures. As of 2010, Neil McGregor, the director of the British Museum, said he hoped that both British and Chinese investigators would work together on the controversial collection, which continues to result in resentment in China. The British Museum has refused to return these artifacts, stating that the restitutionist premise that whatever was made in a century must return to our original geographical site would empty both the British Museum and the other great museums of the world. The museum has also argued that the British Museum Act of 1963 legally prevents any objects from leaving its collection once it has entered it. Nevertheless, it has returned items such as the Tasmanian ashes after a 20-year-long battle with Australia. The British Museum continues to assert that it is an appropriate custodian and has an inalienable right to its disputed artifacts under British law.